Hello my friends, welcome to the Commander's Crypt. We've got another exciting video for you today. Today we're going to talk about the Party Time Precon. A couple days ago, me and some of the Warlocks there in New Orleans got together and we did a gameplay video where we played the 4 Precons from Battle of Baldur's Gate, and Party Time was one of those with Nalia Arnise as the commander, and I was actually impressed. You know, when I did my deck tech on Party Time, I didn't realize how strong this deck was going to be, but after watching it played, I was very impressed. So what we're going to talk about today is budget and maybe not so budget upgrades for the Party Time deck. And it's only going to be about 8 cards too. It's a very strong deck on its own. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about a couple of different builds. The budget isn't too crazy on the upgrades with this. The cards that you're going to need to do either version of this upgrade are not expensive at all. So we'll get right on to it. The two different versions that we're going to talk about is an Aristocrats version with loops. And if your play group isn't into that, then we'll talk about another version that you can do as well. The commander, Nalia Arnise, she is 1 black, 1 white, and a colorless. She's a human rogue, and her strength is that you may look at the top card of your library at any time, and you may cast cleric, rogue, warrior, and wizard spells from the top of your library. That's actually very strong. Foresight is what we call that in the business. And then it says at the beginning of combat on your turn, if you have a full party, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control, and those creatures gain death touch till end of turn. What we're going to do with this first build is we're going to abuse her first power there of being able to cast cleric, rogue, warrior, and wizard spells from the top of the library. A lot of these creatures have a very low CMC, so once you get a few lands, on your battlefield, you could just go right down through your deck, casting all these guys, and then have a full party, and then get the benefits from that. So that's what we're going to talk about today. The first build that we're going to do, again, uses Nalia Arnise's ability of foresight to dig for your combo pieces. In this aristocrat build, what we're going to do is we're going to have Sir Conrad in there. He will replace Sir Conrad with a swamp. We're only going to take about 8 cards out of this deck because it's a very strong deck on its own, and it really that's all it needs. So what we're going to do is the deck had 37 lands, and most of these spells in the deck are very low CMC. So we're going to swap out a swamp for Sir Conrad the Grim. He's 2 black and 3. Legendary creature, human knight. Whenever another creature dies, or a creature card is put into a graveyard from anywhere other than the battlefield, or a creature card leaves your graveyard, Sir Conrad the Grim deals 1 damage to each opponent. So what we're going to do is we are going to have ways of sacrificing our own creatures and using Sir Conrad's ability. Besides Sir Conrad, we're going to have a Blood Artist, so we can take a Plains out and put Blood Artist in. He's going to do the same thing, and I'm going to show you there's a bunch of combos that we have with Blood Artist and Altar of Dementia. We're going to take another swamp out for Altar of Dementia. Altar of Dementia is only 2 colorless, and it's an artifact that says sacrifice a creature. Target player puts a number of cards equal to the sacrificed creature's power from the top of their library into their graveyard. So what we're going to do is we're going to use Altar of Dementia and a couple other things as sack outlets to then run our loops. Another piece that we could put in there would be Falcon Wrath Noble. We'll take Priest of Ancient Lore out and put him in. Falcon Wrath Noble is 1 black, 3 colorless, flying. Whenever Falcon Wrath Noble or another creature dies, target player loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. So you see where I'm going with this. Next, we would take out Irregular Cohort for Phyrexian Altar or Ashnod's Altar. And with Phyrexian Altar or Ashnod's Altar, we're able to sacrifice a creature to get 2 colorless for the Ashnod Altar and colored mana for the Phyrexian Altar. Next, we're going to take Furge's Retribution out, and we're going to put in a Blood-Soaked Champion. The good thing about him is he's a warrior. So you can foresight him with Nalia Arnise and then cast him. And that's one of the combo pieces. Next, we would take Machias the Lunarch out and put Reassembling Skeleton. Same thing. He is a combo piece, which I'll show you here in a second. And he's also a warrior, so you can cast him off the top of your library with Nalia Arnise. Next, we're going to take out Archpriest of Iona. And we're going to put in Viscera Seer, again for his sack ability. With him, you can sacrifice creatures and then scry off the top of your deck, abusing Nalia's ability, and take the lands off the top, put them on the bottom of your library, and then keep casting your warriors and clerics and wizards out of your deck with Viscera Seer. So that's the first version that we're going to do. And with the Butcher of Malakir, what happens is when you do these loops, which I'll tell you about here in a second, Butcher of Malakir will kill all of your opponent's creatures. So one more potential loop that we could put in here would be with the Altar Dementia. We could put a Fiend Hunter in there as well. He's 2 white and 1. When he enters the battlefield, you may exile another target creature. When he leaves the battlefield, return exiled card to the battlefield under its owner's control. With Sun Titan and Altar of Dementia, you see what you can do there. But the loops that we would do would be Reassembling Skeleton plus Altar of Dementia, Pitiless Plunderer, Pawn of Ulamog, and Zulaport Cutthroat. Zulaport Cutthroat's already in the deck with by taking out one of those cards and putting Reassembling Skeleton in. He's a 1/1 warrior, which allows us to cast him with Nalia Arnise. And then he says, for 1 black and 1, return Reassembling Skeleton from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. Him with Pitiless Plunderer, he's a pirate, 1 black and 3. Whenever another creature you control dies, create a colorless treasure artifact token with. Sack this artifact, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. Then with Pawn of Ulamog, which is 2 black and 1. Whenever Pawn of Ulamog or another non-creature you control dies, you may create a 0/1 colorless Eldrazi spawn creature token. Then you can sack that token for 1 colorless. So with Reassembling Skeleton, Pitiless Plunderer, Pawn of Ulamog, and a Zulaport Cutthroat, which is already in the deck, or a Blood Artist, you can loop and kill all of your opponents while milling them at the same time with your Altar of Dementia. So like I said, that 4-card combo works with both Zulaport Cutthroat and Blood Artist. The next loop that we could do with Altar of Dementia would be Blood Artist and Pitiless Plunderer, and then one more creature called a Grave Crawler for 1 black. He's a 2/1 zombie, and you may cast Grave Crawler from your graveyard as long as you control a zombie. So that's another potential loop that we could do. We could also do that with Blood-Soaked Champion, Pitiless Plunderer, Pawn of Ulamog, and Zulaport Cutthroat, or the Blood Artist. So as you can see, with Altar of Dementia, there's all kinds of loops that we can do. And some of the cards that we are replacing are being replaced, a swamp or a plains for a warrior, which allows us to cast off the top of the deck with Nalia. Then if your play group isn't down with that, then another thing that you could do with this deck is replace those 8 cards with these cards. When we played the deck and test played it, we saw that it was very weak on removal. If you go watch our gameplay video, you'll see that Nalia had no answers for propagandas and things like that. So what we could do in a second type of build is we could give it more removal. So what we could do is replace a swamp with a Vindicate. Vindicate's 1 black, 1 white, and 1 sorcery, destroy target permanent. Next, we could replace the plains with Anguished Unmaking. It is an instant, 1 black, 1 white, and 1. Exile target permanent, and you lose 3 life. Next, what we could do is we could put some Wraths in the deck, like a Chroma's Vengeance. That's 2 white and 4, and it says destroy all permanents, non-land permanents. So what you could do with that type of board wipe is remove the problematic enchantments and artifacts. And the Nalia deck doesn't have a whole lot of artifact or enchantments in it. It's mostly a creature deck, 40 creatures actually. So a spell like a Chroma's Vengeance will help you rid the board of artifacts, enchantments that are causing you problems, but then also help you reset the board if your opponents have bigger and more numerous creatures than you. Same thing with the next spell, Fell the Mighty. Fell the Mighty is 1 white and 4. It's a sorcery. Destroy all creatures with power greater than target creature's power. Typical white weenie deck, you've got low power. So if somebody's got more and bigger power creatures, you can cast this board wipe the creatures off and keep your creatures on the board. Basically a one-sided board wipe, and we love one-sided board wipes here at the Commander's Crypt. Next card that we could potentially put in there would be Planar's Cleansing, and what it does, it's 3 white and 3 colorless, and it destroys all non-land permanents. Same thing. It allows you to destroy problematic enchantments or artifacts and reset the board for your white weenie team. Another potential card we could put in there would be Play of the Game. 2 white and 6. It's a sorcery with assist. Assist says another player can pay up to 6 of this spell's cost. Exile all non-land permanents. So again, that helps you wipe the board of any problematic enchantments or artifacts, and if you are behind, and then also for some reason, if an opponent wants to help you, politically you're both in trouble, they can assist with casting that card. Now you got to remember too, when you play this card, you got to say, Play of the Game. Next we've got Slaughter the Strong. Slaughter the Strong is a very good card. 2 white and 1. It's a sorcery. Each player chooses any number of creature he or she controls with total power 4 or less, then sacrifices all their other creatures he or she controls. Again, this works well with your deck with Nalia because all of your guys are going to be 3 or less on the power. So that will be a one-sided board wipe and will be very most advantageous for you, but not for your opponents. And then the last card that we would potentially put in there would be Hour of Revelation, 3 white and 3. It's a sorcery. Hour of Revelation costs 3 less to cast if there are 10 or more non-land permanents on the battlefield. Destroy all non-land permanents. Again, you're going to be able to reset faster because of your smaller deck, smaller creatures, and with Nalia Arnise, you put her back out and start casting clerics and warriors off the top of your deck. You're going to reset faster. The good thing about this card is there will be more than 10 non-land permanents on the battlefield, so this spell will only cost you 3 white. So there you go, 2 different upgrades for the Nalia Arnise deck. I hope you liked it. If there's anything that you'd like to say or anything that I missed, please put it in the comments below. We also have a Patreon if you want to, if you like what we're doing here and you want to donate, then here is the Patreon address right here. We also have a website, a landing page. So, what we like to say here at the Commander's Crypt is we don't want to just be another Commander channel. We want to be a community. So, and I truly mean that. If you would, if you haven't already, if you've gone this far with us, go ahead and like and subscribe. Like I said, we're not trying to just be a Commander channel. We're trying to be a Commander community, a union, friends, where we help each other out and work toward causes. So that's it. That's all I've got. I'm going to sign off here from the Commander's Crypt from a very hot New Orleans. I hope you have a fantastic weekend.